I can't stop fixing the same details, as if one typo could erase my credibility. It's 11 p.m., and I'm still at my desk. The office has grown silent around me, emptied of the noise of the day. But inside my head, the noise hasn't stopped. The computer screen glows with the same loan application draft I've read and reread at least 10 times. My finger scrolls down the document, the wheel of the mouse whispering endlessly as if mocking me. Every flick of the wheel lands me back at the same line, the same section, the same red marks circling words I've already corrected. The glow of the monitor makes my eyes sting, but I can't pull away. I lean closer, convinced there's another error hiding, another phrase that isn't quite right. Pressure is pressing down on me from all sides. Not the pressure of the deadline itself, but the pressure of what the work says about me. One misplaced decimal, one poorly phrased sentence, one overlooked error. And suddenly, I'm not just a broker delivering a document. I'm a fraud, a careless professional who can't be trusted. The longer I sit here, the heavier that belief grows. I don't see words on the screen anymore. I see judgment. I see doubt. I see my reputation hanging on the sharp edge of every sentence. My hand tightens around the mouse, scrolling again, scanning again. I hear my own voice in my head. If I miss something, they'll think I'm incompetent. If I send it wrong, I'll lose the client. If I lose the client, maybe the whole business unravels. The desk is littered with drafts, each one marked with corrections, each one stacked on top of the last like a record of how much I can't get it right. I've circled the same sentences so many times that the red ink bleeds through the paper. Pressure rises in my chest, a familiar mix of fear and pride, as if my entire worth depends on whether this document looks flawless. At work, it's my reputation. At home, it's my family depending on me to keep this business alive. Inside my cell, it's the old voice that refuses to die down. The one that says, if you make a mistake, you're nothing. So I sit here, frozen in the cycle of endless corrections, chasing a finish line that doesn't exist. And with each flick of the mouse wheel, I wonder, will I ever be able to send this out? Or will perfectionism hold me here until I break? Sometimes it feels like perfection is the only shield I have. The truth is, this isn't about a single loan application. It's about the fear behind it. In my industry, mistakes don't just look bad. They can cost people their homes, their futures, their trust. And in a world where trust is the only real currency, I feel like one slip could end everything I've worked for. The root runs deeper than business. It's cultural. In my family, in my community, appearance matters. Face matters. To be careless, to be sloppy, isn't just a professional flaw. It's a reflection on your character, on your family, on everyone who raised you. That weight doesn't disappear when I sit at a desk. It tightens its grip with every draft, every email, every decision. I catch myself rewriting emails until the words blur together. Not because the first draft wasn't good enough, but because something in me refuses to believe it ever will be. I can't hit send until the sentences look bulletproof, until I imagine no one could possibly find fault. Do you rewrite emails until the words blur? Do you feel that one slip could cost your reputation? I ask myself these questions, and I already know the answer. Yes, every time. That's the exhausting cycle of perfectionism. It doesn't end when the document is done. It doesn't end when the client signs. Because the standard isn't completion. The standard is flawlessness. A standard that shifts like a mirage the closer I get to it. And yet, there's a quiet voice that tries to break through. A piece of wisdom I once heard. Perfection is an illusion. Progress is the truth. I resisted it at first. Progress felt like a consolation prize, the kind of thing you tell yourself when you couldn't reach the real goal. But maybe that's the illusion. Maybe perfection isn't the real goal at all. The red pen marks circling the same line over and over aren't protecting me. They're trapping me. They're not proof of my professionalism. They're proof of how much I'm afraid. But fear is persuasive. Fear whispers that if I let go of perfection, I'll fall. Fear insists that if I send something at 90%, it will cost me everything. And yet, I can't help but see the other truth. If I don't let go of perfection, I'll never move at all. Because perfectionism doesn't just cost time, it costs presence, it costs peace, it costs the quiet moments with my family that I keep trading for one more round of corrections. And if nothing changes, I know exactly where this road leads. Not just exhaustion, but paralysis. Deals delayed, clients lost, a business frozen by the very fear that was supposed to protect it. That's the prison of perfectionism. And tonight, I can already feel the bars closing in. The call came while the cursor blinked back at me. I had the draft open, the 10th version, maybe the 15th. I'd lost count. The red circles marked the same lines I'd been agonizing over for hours. My head was heavy, but my hand still gripped the pen like it was the last tool keeping me afloat. Then the phone buzzed. A client. I hesitated, hoping it would stop, but it didn't. So I answered, voice low, already bracing. Leo, what's going on with the deal? Why is it taking so long? Their tone wasn't cruel, but it was sharp enough to cut through me. Each word pierced the fragile bubble I'd built around myself. My chest tightened, and I scrambled for an explanation. Just finalizing some details, making sure everything's perfect. Perfect? They sighed. Leo, we just need it done. When the line went silent, the echo of their words stayed. We just need it done. But all I could hear underneath was my own thought loop. If I send it wrong, I'll ruin everything. If I send it wrong, I'll ruin everything. I looked at the desk, at the stacks of drafts piled on top of each other like monuments to my paralysis. Paper upon paper, each one a record of how much I couldn't release. The red ink bled through layers, as if mocking me, proof of how stuck I was. I dropped my pen. My head sank into my hands. Fatigue pressed against me like a physical weight. My eyes burned, not just from the screen, but from the shame of knowing I was frozen. The thought loop roared louder. If I send it wrong, I'll ruin everything. If I send it wrong, I'll ruin everything. I couldn't send the draft. I couldn't fix it anymore. I couldn't move. And in that moment, it wasn't just the deal at risk. It was me, my confidence, my credibility, my sense of worth, all trapped under the demand for perfection I could never reach. I sat there in silence, buried under my own weight, unable to deliver. The silence broke, not with another phone call, but with something inside me giving way. I stared at the drafts, at the endless corrections, and something in me snapped. Not with anger, but with clarity. The truth landed heavy, but simple. Perfection doesn't win trust. Consistency does. The words felt foreign in my mouth, but once I spoke them, I couldn't take them back. And I didn't want to. I thought back to every client I'd ever worked with. Not one stayed because I was flawless. They stayed because I showed up, again and again. They stayed because I delivered, even when the path was messy. Done had always carried more weight than perfect. I closed the laptop with a firm push, the sound echoing in the stillness of the room. The stacks of drafts didn't look like shields anymore. They looked like anchors I had chained myself to. And when I pushed them aside, I realized something shocking. I had already done enough. The deal was ready days ago. It was me who wasn't ready to let it go. Enough, I whispered, testing the word. Enough, I said again, steadier, letting it seep into my chest. Enough, I said once more, strong now, bold, as if I could speak it into my bones. The mantra shifted something inside me. The fear didn't disappear, but it loosened its grip. The idea that progress matters more than perfection began to root itself where doubt had lived. I looked around the office. The lights flickered, tired like me, but outside the window, a softer glow was forming. Dawn. The night of endless corrections was ending whether I wanted it to or not, and in that light, I saw my work differently. Not as a flawless shield, but as a steady offering, imperfect but consistent. Progress is what builds my business, not endless polish, I said, anchoring the truth aloud. The line didn't erase the fear, but it steadied me against it. I leaned back in my chair, shoulders uncoiling, and felt the quiet power of letting go. My value wasn't in circling the same line forever. My value was in delivering, in moving forward, in trusting that done was enough. The sunrise spilled across the desk, turning paper into gold, and for the first time in days, I believed it. Enough is strong, enough is steady, enough is mine. Progress is what builds my business, not endless polish. That line keeps replaying in my head as the sunlight stretches across the office. It doesn't cancel the perfectionist instinct still lurking inside me, but it gives me something stronger to stand on. And if I don't ground it in practice, I know how quickly the old cycle will return. So I created a small ritual, a completion ritual. I take the final draft, not the flawless one, but the one that's ready enough, and I close the laptop with deliberate care. The sound feels like a boundary, like drawing a line between obsession and release. For years, I've treated completion like failure, as if sending something out unfinished meant weakness. But now, I reframe it. Completion itself is the proof of strength. I breathe in, steadying myself. Done is enough. The words feel strange at first, like they're rebelling against every instinct I've trained. My mind whispers, check it one more time. Maybe you missed something, but I shake my head and repeat, louder this time. Done is enough. I let my eyes rest on the laptop, shut tight, the red pen finally still. The symbol of progress isn't flawless work. It's work that has been released, work that has been trusted to stand as it is. I say it again, steady now, like a truth carving itself into me. Done is enough. And I notice what happens inside my body when I speak those words. My shoulders soften. My jaw unclenches. My breath reaches deeper. It's as if my body has been waiting years for permission to believe this. The ritual doesn't require fireworks. It doesn't require applause. It requires trust. Trust that my consistency, not my polish, proves my value. The laptop sits closed, the office finally quiet, and I feel something I rarely allow myself to feel in work: relief. Even in this small ritual of release, the weight shifts. Perfection no longer holds me hostage. Progress sets me free. Trust isn't built in flawless moments. It's built in showing up, again and again. That's the truth I walk away with tonight. Perfectionism hasn't disappeared. I still catch myself scanning for errors, still hear the whisper to polish again. But now I carry a counterweight. Progress is enough. Consistency is stronger than polish. At work, that means clients don't see me frozen behind endless drafts. They see me deliver. They see me show up when I say I will. That's what builds trust, not the fantasy of flawless documents. With my family, it means I close the laptop earlier. I let the office lights turn off, even when my inner critic protests. The difference is small, but noticeable. I'm there at the table, present, instead of trapped in loops of correction. My kids don't remember whether I sent a perfect email. They remember if I was listening. Within myself, the shift feels like breathing room. I no longer chain my worth to perfection. I measure it in progress. The drafts I release, the conversations I finish, the moments I allow myself to rest. It's not flawless, but it's real. And real carries me forward. I anchor the line in my mind as a mantra. Done carries more weight than perfect. The closing image that stays with me is the office at last in darkness. The screen no longer glowing. The red pen no longer bleeding ink. Just the lights off, the silence steady, the night finally giving way to peace. But as one weight lifts, I sense the next shadow waiting. If perfectionism weighed heavy on me, imposter syndrome whispers even louder. That's the voice I'll have to face next. For now, I let the thought rest. I close this week with a quiet musing, a question I ask myself as much as anyone else. Where did perfectionism almost stop me this week? And what's one win I can honor anyway? I seal the night with rhythm. Done carries more weight than perfect. Office lights off. Silence steady. And tonight, I hold the proof. Trust isn't built in flawless moments. It's built in showing up, again and again.